Okay, so like picture this. You're leading a revolt uniting these tribes
So, yeah.
in one of the harshest landscapes on Earth.
Oh, wow.
Your weapon.
Yeah.
Not just like military might, but like a deep understanding of human psychology and a willingness to like endure hardship as like a strategy.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty intense, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's Tia Lawrence,
Oh,
Lawrence of
okay.
Arabia for you. And today,
Okay.
we're using the Enneagram to try to understand the inner workings of this like fascinating figure, specifically the self-preservation 4.
It's interesting you bring up that hardship as a strategy thing, because that really gets to the core of this whole Enneagram type.
Right.
It's not about seeking out pain just for the sake of it,
Right.
but rather a very deep-seated need for security that manifests in some unexpected ways.
So not your typical security, like a big bank account or a fortress or something, right?
Yeah,
We're talking about something deeper.
Think more like emotional and psychological security.
Okay.
The self-preservation 4 often feels this sense of like lack, almost like a void that they're trying to fill through intense self-demand and perfectionism. They're driven to prove their worth, but that inner critic is just absolutely relentless.
I can already see the connection to Lawrence.
Yeah.
This guy literally crossed the Nifu Desert, a feat that like most people would consider insane.
Yeah.
Was that just bravado or was there something more to it?
That's where it gets really fascinating.
Okay.
The analysis we're looking at suggests that this incredible feat wasn't just about physical endurance. It was about using that hardship to achieve a strategic goal.
Okay.
He was proving to himself, to the Arabs that he was leading, and perhaps to the world that he could handle absolutely anything.
Wow.
It's almost like suffering becomes this pathway to a kind of twisted form of security.
Okay, so there's like a method to this seeming madness.
Right.
But what about those who don't lead armies across deserts?
Yeah.
How does this suffering as strategy thing play out in everyday life for a self-preservation 4?
Okay, well, imagine that coworker who's always volunteering for the toughest projects, the ones that everybody else avoids.
Right.
There's a sense of control, even redemption, in conquering those challenges.
Yeah.
They might not even be fully aware of it.
Right.
But it all ties back to that need to prove their worth and secure their place in the world.
So it's not about like masochism for the sake of it.
Yeah.
But rather this way to create a sense of safety and control.
Yes.
In a world that just feels inherently unpredictable.
Precisely. And it's not just about work either. Think about relationships.
Okay.
The self-preservation 4 might hold back emotionally, not out of coldness, but because vulnerability just feels too risky. So they're safeguarding their heart, building walls to protect themselves from potential hurt.
It's like they're always on guard.
Yeah.
Like anticipating that worst case scenario so they can be prepared.
Right.
But that constant vigilance, I imagine, has got to be exhausting.
It absolutely is. And that's why self-awareness is so crucial for this type. Understanding these deep-seated motivations can help them make choices from a place of empowerment rather than fear.
Yeah.
And it can also help those around them understand their behavior,
Great.
which leads to more compassion and empathy.
This is giving me a whole new perspective on some people I know.
Right.
But let's bring it back to Lawrence of Arabia.
Okay.
We know he achieved some incredible things.
He did.
But was it all driven by this inner turmoil?
Well, the analysis suggests that his leadership in the Arab revolt wasn't about personal glory.
Right.
It was about aligning himself with a cause that was greater than himself, fighting for the rights of others.
Right.
And this sense of justice is another hallmark of the self-preservation 4.
Okay.
They have this deep-seated need to right wrongs, even if it comes at a personal cost.
That makes his writing in 7 Pillars of Wisdom even more intriguing, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The meticulous detail, the almost stoic tone,
Yeah.
it all points to that inner struggle. He's not just recounting events, he's dissecting them, searching for meaning in every action, every decision.
Right.
Even his writing becomes a form of self-examination.
Okay.
Maybe even a way to process those internal battles.
And that's what makes him so relatable, right?
Yeah.
Even though he was this larger-than-life figure, he was still human.
Yeah.
Still wrestling with these very human challenges.
It's fascinating how even a war hero, someone who seemingly defied all odds, was still human, still wrestling with these very human challenges.
Okay, so we're starting to paint a pretty complex picture of this Enneagram type.
Yeah.
Intense, driven, but also deeply principled
Right.
and capable of these incredible feats.
Uh-huh.
But I'm curious, how does Naranjo, the Enneagram expert, weigh in on all this?
Well, Naranjo's insights really bring it all together.
Okay.
He highlights the extraordinary strength and willpower of this type, especially in the face of adversity.
Mm-hmm.
Think of Lawrence leading that daring capture of Aqaba.
Right.
Yeah, that was a pivotal moment in the Arab Revolt, and it really exemplifies the self-preservation force capacity for, like, strategic risk-taking.
Mm.
They're not afraid of a challenge,
Right.
especially when it aligns with their values and goals.
It's almost like they thrive on a certain level of pressure.
Yeah.
But Naranjo also talks about something else, right?
Yes.
This idea of finding transcendence through suffering.
That's a really intriguing aspect of this type.
Okay.
Naranja suggests that for the self-preservation force, suffering isn't just something to be endured.
Right.
It can actually be a source of meaning and even spiritual growth.
Wow.
It's like they're constantly testing their limits, pushing themselves to the edge to see what they're truly capable of.
So in a way, their struggles become like a crucible for transformation.
Exactly.
Are not just surviving.
Mhm.
They're actively seeking a deeper understanding of themselves and the world
Yes.
through these experiences.
And that's where the real power of this Enneagram type lies.
Okay.
You know, it's not about glorifying suffering, but rather recognizing the potential for growth and resilience that can emerge from facing our challenges head on.
Mm.
It's about finding that inner strength that allows us to persevere even when things get tough.
This is making me think about how we often try to avoid discomfort
Yeah.
to smooth out the rough edges of life.
Right.
But maybe there's something to be said for embracing those challenges,
Yeah.
for leaning into the discomfort as a way to learn and grow.
I think that's a powerful insight, and it's something that Lawrence's story really highlights.
Okay.
He didn't shy away from hardship, he confronted it directly.
Right.
And in doing so, he not only achieved remarkable things in the external world, but he also seems to have undergone a profound internal transformation.
It's not just about the external accomplishments, it's about that inner journey,
Exactly.
that constant striving for meaning and self-discovery.
Yes.
But how do we apply this to our own lives?
Right.
Most of us aren't leading revolutions or writing these epic memoirs.
That's the beauty of the Enneagram. It's not just about categorizing people.
Right.
It's about providing a framework for understanding ourselves and others on a deeper level. So even if you don't relate to Lawrence's specific experiences, the underlying themes of self-awareness, resilience, and the search for purpose are universal.
So think about someone you know who might fit this self-preservation 4 mold.
Yeah.
It could be that friend who's always pushing themselves to achieve,
Right.
always striving for perfection. Or maybe it's the quiet colleague who takes on the most demanding tasks without complaint.
Yeah.
But you just sense there's a lot going on beneath the surface.
Exactly. And now imagine approaching those individuals with a deeper understanding of their motivations. You might recognize that their stoicism isn't coldness,
Okay.
but rather a way of protecting their vulnerability.
Oh.
Or you might appreciate their drive and determination
Yeah.
as stemming from this deep-seated need to make a meaningful contribution to the world.
This is making me realize that sometimes we misinterpret those who are different from us.
Right.
We might judge their intensity or their need for control
Yeah.
without understanding the underlying fears and insecurities that drive those behaviors.
It's so easy to get caught up in our own perspectives
Right.
and make assumptions about others, but the Enneagram invites us to step outside of ourselves,
Yeah.
to consider alternative ways of being in the world.
And maybe, just maybe, in understanding those who are different from us, we can also gain a deeper understanding of ourselves.
Absolutely. And for those who resonate with the self-preservation 4,
Okay.
understanding your Enneagram type can be incredibly liberating.
Right.
It can help you make sense of your own patterns and motivations,
Yeah.
allowing you to make more conscious choices and cultivate greater self-compassion.
So it's not about labeling yourself or
Right.
feeling boxed in. It's about using this knowledge as a tool for growth and self-discovery.
Precisely. It's about recognizing your strengths, embracing your challenges, and ultimately living a life that feels more aligned with your true nature.
The analysis we've been discussing ends by saying that Lawrence's life is a testament to perseverance and the search for purpose. It makes me wonder, was his drive more about external goals like winning the war or securing Arab independence? Or was it about that internal struggle for meaning we've been talking about?
I think it was a complex interplay of both.
Okay.
He clearly had a vision for the world he wanted to create.
Right.
And he was willing to fight for it.
Yeah.
But I also believe that his personal journey, that inner struggle to understand himself and his place in the world, was a driving force behind his actions.
It's like those external achievements were almost a byproduct of his commitment to that inner journey. He was constantly pushing himself, testing his limits. And in doing so, he ended up leaving an indelible mark on history.
And that's what makes his story so compelling, right?
Yeah.
It speaks to the power of aligning our actions with our values.
Of embracing our challenges as opportunities for growth.
Right.
And of never giving up on the search for meaning, even in the face of adversity.
This deep dive has really sparked my curiosity about 7 Pillars of Wisdom.
Yeah.
It sounds like such a rich and complex text.
It is.
Just like the man who wrote it.
It's definitely not a light read.
Okay.
But if you're looking for a glimpse into the mind of a truly extraordinary individual, I highly recommend it.
Challenge accepted.
Well,
but you know what? I think Lawrence's story and the insights we've gleaned from the Self-Preservation 4 have given us a lot to ponder even beyond the pages of his memoir.
And that's what we're all about here on The Deep Dive.
Right.
Providing you with food for thought, sparks of inspiration, and maybe even a few aha moments along the way.
So before we wrap up, let's leave our listeners with something to chew on.
Okay.
What's one question they can ask themselves as they go about their day? Something that might help them connect with the themes we've explored today. That's a great question. I think the powerful question to ask yourself is, what seemingly insurmountable challenge in my life might actually be an invitation to discover my own strength and resilience?
Yeah, it's funny. We've been dissecting the Enneagram and Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah.
But it feels like we're really just talking about the human experience as a whole.
What's fascinating is how this deep dive into a specific Enneagram type has uncovered all these universal themes of resilience, the search for meaning, even the idea of finding transcendence through hardship.
Right.
It's like Lawrence's journey, as extraordinary as it was, holds up this mirror to our own lives, challenging us to really examine our own motivations and aspirations.
Exactly. And for those who resonate with the Self-Preservation 4, what advice would you give for navigating the world with this personality type?
I would say, first and foremost, recognize and embrace your strengths.
Okay.
Self-Preservation 4s possess an incredible capacity for focused determination and creative problem solving. They're often the ones who can see solutions that others miss.
Right.
Who can persevere when others give up.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate the power of those gifts.
Right, because it's easy to get caught in that cycle of self-criticism.
It is.
Always striving for perfection and never feeling quite good enough.
Absolutely. And that's why self-compassion is crucial.
Yeah.
Remember that you don't have to be perfect to be worthy of love and belonging.
Right.
Allow yourself to make mistakes, to be vulnerable, and to ask for help when you need it.
Okay.
It's in those moments of imperfection that true growth and connection can really occur.
This is making me realize that maybe some of the greatest lessons come from the challenges we face, not from the times when everything is smooth sailing.
That's a really insightful observation, and it ties back to what we were discussing earlier about embracing discomfort as this catalyst for transformation.
Right.
It's often in those moments when we're pushed to our limits that we discover this hidden reservoir of strength and resilience that we didn't even know we had.
So it's not about avoiding challenges. It's about reframing them as opportunities for growth and self-discovery.
Precisely. And for the Self-Preservation 4, who's often drawn to intensity and depth.
Yeah.
Those challenges can actually become a pathway to a richer and more meaningful life.
But let's be honest, facing those challenges head on can be daunting. What advice would you give for cultivating that courage and resilience?
I think one of the most powerful practices for any Enneagram type, but especially for the Self-Preservation 4, is to cultivate a connection to something larger than themselves.
Okay.
Whether it's through spirituality, nature, art, or simply spending time in quiet reflection. Finding ways to tap into a sense of awe and wonder can provide a much-needed source of grounding and perspective.
It's like finding that anchor that keeps you steady amidst the storms of life.
Exactly. And it can also help to counterbalance that tendency toward introspection and self-doubt that can sometimes plague the Self-Preservation 4. By connecting to something bigger than themselves, they can tap into this source of strength and wisdom that transcends their own limitations.
So if we were to distill this whole deep dive into one key takeaway, what would it be? What's the message we want to leave our listeners with today?
I think it would be this. Our struggles, our challenges,
Mm-hmm.
those moments when we feel most lost and alone,
Yeah.
they don't define us.
Right.
They can actually become the fertile ground from which our greatest strengths and our most profound transformations emerge.
Wow.
Just like Lawrence of Arabia found purpose and meaning in the middle of this harsh desert landscape,
Yeah.
we too can discover these hidden reserves of resilience and wisdom within ourselves when we embrace the challenges that life throws our way.
Beautifully said. And just like Lawrence's legacy continues to inspire us today,
Right.
may our own journeys be a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit and the transformative potential of embracing our challenges as opportunities for growth. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of T.E. Lawrence and the Enneagram.
It's a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking those moments of awe and wonder that remind us of the beauty and complexity of the human experience.